Child labor is a violation of fundamental human rights and has been shown to hinder children's development, potentially leading to lifelong physical or psychological damage. Child labor refers to the work that is harmful to children's physical and mental development and includes work that interferes with their schooling. In the worst cases, child labor can make children slaves, separate them from their families, expose them to serious dangers and illnesses. In the 19th century, the children of the United Kingdom, United States of America, Canada, Japan, Australia, and New Zealand were commonly used as cheap labor in the mills, factories, mines, workshops, and wealthy homes. The UK created the Factory Act of 1883, the Mine Act of 1842, and another Factory Act of 1867. These acts regulated working hours, protected young children, and improved working conditions. Mandatory education introduced by the Education Act in 1870 further limited child exploitation. Similar laws were passed in most states. New Zealand, in the Canadian and Australian colonies. In the 20th century, a growing awareness of child labor began. The International Labor Organization, such as ILO, developed standards for the protection of children. This introduced minimum wages for children. Almost all countries now have laws which set a minimum age for working. However, these laws are not always enforced, and the exploitation of millions of children continue. I believe child labor should be abolished because it leaves children in harmful environments leading to death or serious injury, and children obtain jobs that are meant for adults. This is a boy placed in a harmful environment making bricks for a Pakistani company. He is an Afghan refugee.
The children start working at 2 in the morning. They work until 2 p.m. when they take lunch and rest until 4 p.m. Then they must work another 2 hours until 6 p.m. Altogether, they work 14 hours a day. In one day, a child can make about 2,000 bricks. The child gets 260 rupees, or about $4. This is just barely enough for a family to live on. And so every day, they have no choice but to return to the brickyard and continue making bricks.
This clip expresses child labor through a professional's eyes.
Still making progress, but that progress is too slow. We still have 215 million children working in child labor. 115 million of those are in the worst forms of child labor. That's far too many, and the progress is far too slow for us to meet the goal of eliminating the worst forms of child labor by 2016.
53 million children under 15 years old are in hazardous working conditions, according to the ILO in 2010. An estimated 1.2 million children in 2008, both boys and girls, are trafficked each year into abusive work in agriculture, mining, factories, armed conflict, or sexual work. Many jobs children obtain are taken from adults, in most cases by force. This 16-year-old boy lost his leg and arm in an industrial accident at a factory in 1918. Despite the fact that he has spent 2 years at the factory, no one from the company stopped by to visit him after the accident, and he received no compensation for his injuries. The International Labor Organization Director, Michael Hassin, states, "Today's child worker will be tomorrow's uneducated adult." Forever trapped in grinding poverty, no effort would be spared to break this vicious circle. A company we all know, Apple, has discovered multiple cases of child labor in its supply chain, including one Chinese company that employed 74 children under the age of 16, held against their will, given little to no pay. Apple's annual report, which monitors nearly 400 suppliers, found children were employed at 11 factories that were involved in the making of its products.